Today, you're going to learn 7 ways to say no without sounding like a jerk. Hi, I'm Dr. Nicole Cain, and my passion is to help you enjoy freedom from anxiety. And sometimes being obligated to do a task or to go somewhere can be really quite stress provoking. One of the things that we talk about is how to have a good sense of personal limit or a good sense of personal boundaries, and part of that involves knowing how to say no. So let's get started. In order to prepare for saying no, here's a few things. One is that you need to know where you draw the line. It'll be easier to say no when you know where your personal limits are. So that means that when you say no to one person, you'll have the same answer for another person in a similar or the same scenario. So identifying what your personal limits are is going to be a real game changer. A strategy to do that is to just simply write them down. When do I want to go to bed? How late do I want to stay out? How many drinks is too many drinks for me? How many hours do I want to work? How many types of clients do I want to have? Whatever it is, start to take note of what kinds of questions people are asking you and where your limits are so that you can have an idea on what your answer would be. The second is to don't beat around the bush, just straight up say no and don't feel the need to over-explain yourself. Oftentimes, people want to come at it from a position of inferiority where they feel like guilty or bad or reluctant or remorseful for saying no. And so they try to justify that by over-explaining or justifying their behavior. And I would love to encourage you that saying no is not only powerful for you, but it's really honest and authentic for them. In fact, I want to tell you a story. I got this story out of a book by, it's called Essentialism by Greg McNone. And he told a story about a CEO who was working in a company nearing retirement, and his productivity was pretty average. And the company kept asking him to do this work, and his work was mounting and mounting and mounting. And so he's basically at the point where he can either get fired and get a severance package, or he could retire and get his retirement package. And so they're asking him what he wants to do. And he's just not quite ready to go back home and be full-time with his wife. So he decides to just start saying no to tasks that he doesn't feel are his highest priority. What ended up happening as a result of him saying no is that when he focused in on a very specific task that was really important and a high value to him, is that he ended up making the company so much more money that they wanted to hire him on at a higher paid contract. So sometimes saying no can be really empowering for you and for the other person. The other thing with saying no is I want you to stay firm in your decision and don't let other people talk you out of your position. I want you to remember, and number 4 is that you aren't responsible for someone else's experience of you saying no. And so if they get upset, that's on them. But what we can do is I'll give you these 7 tips on how to actually say no so that you probably will get a much better response from that person. And then the 5th, just getting you started guideline, is to be really respectful. And this will allow you to control the dynamic of the exchange and keeps the conversation light and courteous. So let's dive into the 7 ways to say no without sounding like a jerk. Number 1 is called the straight up method. This is where you're straight up, you're honest, there's no frills or fills or explanations. Just say, no, thank you. The second is maxed out. This is where you're out of bandwidth and you don't mind sharing this with the person making the request. You would say, I wish I could, but I'm maxed out right now. It's more about you as opposed to them. There's the alternative method, and this is where you're open to a compromise, and you may say something like, I can't do that, but what I can do is this. And then there's the pass the buck method, which is where you blame someone else for you having to decline. And you may say something like, I wish I could, but I promised blank that I wouldn't take on any more projects. Then there's also the gratitude no, where you say, thank you for the opportunity, but I already have an obligation. The 6th is vague. Say no, but don't give much detail beyond that. You would say, thank you for asking, but I'm not going to be able to. And then the last one is someone else tactic. And this is where you would say, maybe somebody else is better suited for the opportunity, or you could prefer to simply say no. So what you might say, I don't have the time right now, unfortunately. Let me recommend someone who may be able to help you. So in this podcast, in this blog, we've been talking about how to say no. I gave you 5 tips on getting started and then 7 different strategies on saying no that helps you sound loving and kind like you are, and that will minimize the likelihood of somebody getting upset. If people are pushing you and they're not taking no for an answer, remember the House of Boundaries work that we've been doing. One of the cable criteria is that they respect your boundaries. And so if there are people in your life who are continuously trying to push you out of your boundaries, it may be time to put those babes on the front porch. This has been Dr. Nicole Cain. My passion is to help you be free from anxiety. Right now we have a 1-week anxiety breakthrough challenge, so check it out. In order to get access to this free challenge, click on the link. We'll put it in the show notes. And then what will happen is we will ask you for a good email address where we will be sending you videos, a booklet, and some extra free content. You would also be invited to our Facebook community, which is totally free, where you can get together with other warriors who are trying to be free in the anxiety journey. And so I've created this group to help you because we've seen in the research, success comes with community, success comes with groups. So check it out. If this content's valuable for you, please hit the share button and also hit the like button. That helps us know what you like to hear more about so we can keep bringing out new content. Again, I'm Dr. Nicole Cain. You can learn more about us by checking out all our social media channels at drnicolecain.com. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye.